are ready for game number 1 here. It's going to be Dart versus Faramir. Let's get into the action.
All right, Mulligans look like they're getting ready for these guys, and it's going to be Warlock versus Paladin. And I have to say that one of the things that I initially thought about Paladin a long time ago was that it had a great matchup versus Handlock, but I've kind of seen that sometimes that isn't the case. But with Paladin getting so much more ability to apply early pressure, with cards like Knife Juggler getting activated by Muster for battle, when you combine that with the tools it has to disrupt stuff like Giants and Twilight Drakes, this has become an absolute force.
And I mean, the power of Aldor Peacekeeper can never be overlooked. I mean, that was something that really gave Paladin the advantage in control versus control matchups. And even in these kind of like mid-game / aggro-y Paladin decks, the Aldor Peacekeeper still is an extremely potent card against these handlocks. And it'll be interesting to see how this does go forward. I mean, Paladin has had a lot of success so far in this tournament. It's really coming out as one of the most powerful new GVG decks, and it's one of the ones that are really showcasing a lot of new GVG cards as well.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the Control Warlock, the Control Warrior, like Handlock Control Warrior, do have some new cards that have had a lot of success, but you're not seeing that same level of like new cards in it.
Yeah, I have to 100% agree with you. Anti-Healbot into the hand for Dart. This has been one of the cards that has been huge. Such a big turnaround for so many of these games. Faramir, meanwhile, he led with Paladin. He's led with Paladin a lot. And he's like you said, not only has Paladin had a lot of success, but Faramir specifically has had a lot of success with it. Not a big surprise to see Dart here lead with Handlock, but I would have kind of liked to see him keep this tucked away because I don't think you want it to match up against a deck like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know what your opponent is going to bring out sometimes, and it can be kind of the next level type mind games. You think, okay, he's going to expect me to do this, so if he won't do it, then I'm going to do it
maybe
anyway.
He doesn't expect me to lead with Handlock, so he's not going to lead with Paladin.
Exactly.
So I'm going to lead with Handlock. The level 2, level 3 thinking.
Yeah.
That stuff gets really deep, but just kind of looking at things, I got to really favor Dart's spot here, despite the fact that I think he would be typically at a disadvantage, just because his hand's so strong right now.
Yeah, and I mean, in the games that we saw Faramir crushing yesterday with this deck, every turn, he had an amazing play. Every game he was starting with, Zombie Chow, into Knife Juggler, into Muster, with the Quartermasters and stuff. So he was really having everything. One card we have not yet seen played one time in his deck is Bolvar. And I mean, it'll be interesting to see if we can see a high-value Bolvar coming out, because he just hasn't had the chance to actually play it. It's only been in his hand one time before this game, and hasn't come out yet. And that is something that can be pretty strong.
Yeah, talking about Bolvar, this is a card that a lot of people, especially myself, didn't really think was that powerful of a card. And when I started playing with it, I just wanted to try it out. And sometimes it just got such massive work done in these matchups. Like when these games get really grindy and everyone's kind of used all their removal spells, they've had to use their silences, all their utility, Bolvar can just be such a big threat that it single-handedly can end the game. I've dealt 42 damage with a Bolvar.
Yeah, I've had games where 27 damage Bolvar comes out, I have no removal, game's over.
Yeah, definitely something that can happen here. Mountain Giant going to come down, and I think
it's got to be the Peacekeeper coming out.
I mean, Faramir, I think he's going to feel absolutely comfortable using Aldor on this as a temporary answer, because he's already seen a silence this game, so you're not going to see a second silence come out too often. We see that Dart already has that in his hand, but going into 7 mana, he's got a couple of options available here for him. Does he want to silence this right away, or does he want to play Dr. Boom?
I don't think he does. I think he's probably going to try to develop Dr. Boom. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if he does decide to go for that, because he has to keep in mind there can be some other pretty good silencing targets, in this deck. If you're going to blow your silence on that, you've already gone through 2 silences. You have to be worried about Tyrion. I mean, Tyrion coming down and not having a silence for that is huge. So I just don't expect that it is going to be Dr. Boom. I like this choice a lot more, honestly. And it was interesting to see that he actually drew the Peacekeeper. He had 2 in his hand. He used the one that he just actually drew into, kind of maybe hiding the fact that he has had one in hand. And it may be something that his opponent doesn't really expect. Now, mousing over that Tyrion, I'm sure he wishes he has the extra mana for that, but it'd be interesting to see what he decides to go for here.
This looks like a really good spot to play your own Dr. Boom, but when you're looking at this board position, are you thinking about taking out this Dr. Boom, or are you thinking about taking out this Mountain Giant?
About Peacekeeper Consecrate even, but I mean you could also Muster, but I do kind of just like playing your own Dr. Boom.
Yeah, we're gonna see what he does, and a lot of different methods moving forward, and this is something that Faramir has done over and over again, where he fights so heavy for control of the board. I mean, it's been at times what looks like almost reckless aggression from him to take control of these boards and really apply a lot of pressure.
It'll be interesting to see if he does decide to muster here now. I'm just trying to maybe kind of like soak up some of those bomb hits, but he's going to decide to go with the consecrate.
Yeah, I think
and it's going to be key to see where these bombs land. He definitely wants them to go face, and one is going to land face. So that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, because this turn, I imagine this Mountain Giant's often going to help pick off the last part of this Pilot Shredder. When that happens, he's got muster for battle to make sure he ends up this 1-1.
Exactly.
Take away the potential for a silence and that guy to be huge again. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think you mind seeing a second silence from your opponent at this point because you have Tyrion and you have Bolvar in hand.
No, I think you really want to see that.
Yeah, I agree with you. So, I think pretty good job making sure that he's applying. And there's so much pressure on Dart. A lot of times when you're in positions like this, you see that someone has a lot of options, and it feels like that you're behind because they have so many options. But giving your opponent a lot of options in scenarios where they don't have complete information, that can lead them to make mistakes in positions like this. So, Dart going to have to be really careful with his sequencing, make sure he's not messing anything up. And just, kind of looking at these board states, none of these plays look too terribly strong to me.
No, there really aren't any great plays. I'm guessing he's probably just going to clean up that Shredder. And, it could just be an Ancient Healbot here. I don't think it's a terrible turn for it, but it's probably going to depend on what comes down. The Ooze, not really too impactful, pretty average roll there. And he has actually decided to heal it up with the Earth Ring Farce here. And looks like he wants to just hunt up, try to reduce some of the damage coming in. How do you feel about playing a Sun Fury Protector here, when it's not really like a super strong board position?
I think he's just got to get the ball rolling with something.
Yeah.
He has to develop something, especially against an opponent like Faramir. This is sort of the benefit of applying a lot of pressure to your opponent, is that they have to make plays like this so they can just keep up with what you're doing. If they're not keeping up on the board, you're eventually just going to get so much value out of the plays that you're making that they're just going to fall too far behind. And we're seeing that trade-off just straight away right here. He actually chooses not to attack with this Aldor Peacekeeper, so he wants to force his opponent to have to make the decision for how he wants to attack. Obviously.
Yeah, and I think you have to be more worried about the bombs as well. So
yeah.
I mean, make him make those hard decisions.
Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those spots where he doesn't want to be. So this Mortal Coil, should this Sun Fury run into this Aldor Peacekeeper, you're definitely going to see Mortal Coil on it, I would suspect.
Yeah.
But 9 mana, he does have access to something like Alexstrasza. This is maybe one of those turns where he feels like he needs to get just a big body developed. Again, I don't really know exactly what he needs to be thinking about in a position like this because the game's still just so wide open. They've been fighting for control of the board for 8 straight turns now.
Yeah, I honestly wouldn't mind the Alexstrasza. It's going to be the Mortal Coil, but you also have to keep in mind both Peacekeepers have already been played, so these eight bodies are a really big threat here. We're going to see where the
really happy to see the 1 point on the face.
Yeah.
So Big Game Hunter for sure going to be shoring this up, and I imagine he's actually looking at Defender of Argus right here. Okay, so if he's playing Defender of Argus right here instead of Antique Healbot, this means that he wants to start drawing Molten Giants. When he draws those, he wants them to be active instead of being at too high of a life total that they cost too much mana. So this is some pretty heads-up play here, I think, from Dart.
Now, what are you expecting to see here? Oh, it is going to be the Tyrion. I was kind of thinking it might be just Muster and the Shredder plus a token. But it is going to be Tyrion. Unfortunately, the silence is available. He could even silence plus Soul Siphon.
Wow! Straight to that one.
Wow.
He had 3 minions on the board. This Boombot could have potentially killed any of these minions. But killing the 5-power one, I think, is definitely the spot you want to be in. So no surprise to see Ironbeak Owl here if you see it. But
do you think he Soul Siphons as well?
Well, that's the thing, is when you're in a position like this, you really have to weigh how much a 5/3 weapon's worth right now. Because if you give your opponent a 5/3 weapon, they can't muster for battle. They can't play Coghammer. They can't play True Silver Champion until they've used those charges.
Yeah,
you can potentially give your opponent dead cards in hand.
I mean, you're also, though, I'm thinking about that simply from the perspective of getting rid of a 6/6 for free. And I think that is something that he is going to want to do. So he's going to Soul Siphon that up. I mean, it's not just about the weapon. It is still a 6/6 body sitting on the board.
Yeah. I think he's got to figure out a way to deal with it. What I was looking at is whether or not he silenced it or not.
I think it's going to be, Juggler, Muster. Wow. Maybe not.
I think this is going to be Bolvar for sure.
Okay. I was thinking it was going to be a Juggler, Muster, and the Bolvar. I mean, with both silences having been used, Soul Siphon already gone, Bolvar does prevent a potential big threat. But I was just thinking with the Owl already out there, it would be a pretty tempting Knife Juggler turn. Trying to get rid of the Owl for free.
Yeah, what it looks to me like he's thinking about is he wants to get all these small minions cleared so that the muster for battle tokens go uncontested. Mm-hmm. I think that's what's in the forefront of his mind right now. And when you're facing down this Bolvar, you have to do something about this. But there's also a Piloted Shredder out there. Like Faramir once again has really solidified a strong board presence.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at Dart's hand, he doesn't have a Mortal Coil. He doesn't have a way to deal one extra minion damage. He's going to have to use this Dark Bomb if this Bolvar is going to die this turn.
At the same time, I mean, it's not really, with the amount of HP that it has, there's already 6 presented on the board. there is a pretty high chance of there being some way to deal with that. Like, so to me, I wonder if this really is the best play instead of the juggler monster for battle. If you can clear some of that out, even if that gets wiped by say a Hellfire or something, then your Bolvar is that much stronger, and there may not be a threat to actually answer.
Yeah, I think he's just looking to clear what's on the board right now.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's thinking about. And no surprise here to see the Twilight Drake instead of the Mountain Giant, so he can use his Dark Bomb. You don't want to let Bolvar sit there. That is such a big. You never want the possibility of 11 damage coming from a Paladin. It's just something you don't want to be there. Lotheb, that looks like a pretty strong draw to me right now.
Especially with Ironbeak Owl plus the juggle is so strong here, and it's certainly got to be that.
Let's take a look. If he hits this juggle right away, this Lotheb for sure going to hit the board.
Could be pretty key. He's not going to hit.
Now he's got a decision in front of him. So now he has the option to risk a 50-50 here. So he's going to keep his Lotheb in hand. He's looking for more value. Gets the second juggle. And at this point, I don't think he actually even wants to muster for battle.
I don't think you need to.
He has such a big board presence. He doesn't really need to do anything.
Yeah.
Jaraxxus and Alexstrasza in this deck, by the way. That's something that you usually see a split decision on if it's one or the other. And certainly Jaraxxus has been favored. But Dart's using two of them here. We took a look at his mage deck yesterday, and that was a super grindy sort of Molten Giant, almost freeze mage deck that he was playing. The fact that he's playing Alex and Jaraxxus in this really says he's been looking to fight against control decks. Oh my gosh!
Wait, how does that work with Muster for Battle?
That's going to kill all the Muster for Battle tokens. That is one of the worst minions.
Oh my god!
That he could have gotten off of this piloted shredder right now.
That's terrible. Otherwise, he could have Muster Quartermastered.
Yeah.
He actually, I wonder if he knows how the interaction works.
Oh, he's got to know how it works. Yeah. This is Faramir's not kidding around. This guy's a professional. Don't try this at home, kids.
This can be one of those interactions that sometimes it's pretty weird. But
Dart, by the way, every single turn Dart has tried to find a way to find himself in a spot where he has initiative, but Faramir has continued to apply the pressure without having drawn any extra cards this game.
And I mean, the thing is, Dart still has not drawn into any of his Molten Giants. And I mean, how many cards does he actually have left? It can't be too many. I mean, we'll see how it's going to go here. But, if he has the potential still for one of those massive swing turns, he is looking like he's in a position where he's doing pretty well. Faramir, that is. But the thing is, we still have the antique heal bot, and if he draws into his Molten Giants and then can get that big free Molten Giant turn into healing up, that is really where you get the massive swing from the antique heal bot and really from handlock in general.
Faramir really going to have to tread lightly this turn to make sure he sequences this right. I imagine this Wild Pyromancer is going to get suicided.
Yep. So do you think we'll just see him suicide that in, then muster? And, I mean, he could then proc it with just, say, the weapon and then buff up afterwards or something? Because then you can have a pretty high chance of getting that 1/1 stolen. Okay, wow, he's actually going to trade in everything. Yeah, how do you feel about that?
I think this is fine because otherwise the Sylvanas is just going to present such a big threat to your board that you're fine with just, you're fine with it. It
would be a super high chance of just stealing a 1/1 though.
No, it's not going to steal. It
can steal in that order.
It can steal a 1/1, yes, but I think it's okay to sacrifice the Lotheb in this position. Like, you just don't want to give your opponent really anything from it. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a 1 in 4 chance though, right?
Sure. Giving your opponent a 1/1 or denying them everything worth more than the body you have on the board. That's really what he's thinking about.
Hard to say.
Yep.
So it is going to be Shadow Flame, it looks like, to clear everything up here. And definitely another powerful turn there for Dart. And I have to feel like it's getting a little bit ugly here for Faramir, as his hand is getting pretty dead, and there's still so many powerful minions in his opponent's hand. And
having Jaraxxus
drawn into.
Yeah, having Jaraxxus and Alexstrasza, I think he's in such a good recovery position. But again, this Sylvanas, this is another problem that Dart's going to have to deal with. He doesn't have any silences left. He doesn't pick up a Siphon Soul right now to clear this out while he has an empty board. He's going to have to risk something into this Sylvanas. I think we're
probably going to see a tap. I mean, we could see a tap and see what he draws into.
We take a look at how many cards he has left, and see what his odds are. We know he's got 2 Siphons.
Checks.
There's a Molten Giant, but that's going to cost 7 mana right now. And again, he feels reluctant to develop anything.
Yeah. I think it's just going to be Belcher and perhaps the Ancient Watcher coming down.
I think he wants the Ancient Watcher down because he wants that to get a chance to be stolen by the Sylvanas.
Yep.
This is increasing the cost of Mountain Giant as he continues to empty cards out of his hand too, though.
Definitely something you have to keep in mind, but I feel like in this position you don't really have to worry too much about that because the Paladin really is starting to run out of gas. So I think as long as he doesn't get a massive value Sylvanas, you still have to remember, you still have Drax, you still have double Molten Giants, you still have Alex Straza. There's so many huge threats for the Paladin. Both Peacekeepers are gone for the Paladin. He's really running low here.
I actually
Shadow Flames really did swing the game.
Yeah, I really don't mind keeping this Ancient Watcher in his hand just to make sure that he can get Mountain Giant on board for a little bit cheaper if he needs to. You know, Sylvanas isn't going to die this turn, so you just don't need to put anything else on the board. Like maybe it's going to get hit by a Consecrate or something like maybe even an Equality has potential to be brought out. But you know, Faramir's turn pretty straightforward. Not really anything to do. You know, kind of upset to see that Consecrate draw, but he had two of them left in his deck, and with only 11 cards or 12 cards in there going into that turn, you have a pretty high chance that he's going to draw something like that.
Do you think we just see Draxus to clear this up with the hero power now? To me, that looks like
it's a lot of damage you're taking, though.
Yeah, it is a lot of damage you're taking, and the fact is, it's like then you can't really Molten Giant. So
yeah,
I mean it's definitely rough.
Wow, he's going to life tap instead. Sees a second Molten Giant, but again, still very reluctant to develop his board while this Sylvanas is still active. And Dart, he's going to pay a few more life here, but I can't say it's the wrong play. It looks, wow, he's actually going to play Mountain Giant and Ancient Watcher into this, and this is a big risk now that could potentially be taken, but there's also opportunities for Faramir to take out this Ancient Watcher and ensure that he gets this 8/3 Mountain Giant.
Yeah, and hiding the True Silver Champion last turn actually did kind of make this play into it. And I mean, I think this is going to make Dart kind of regret not having played the Ancient Watcher last turn.
Yeah.
Because he could actually have 2 down there.
Yep.
This is going to guarantee this.
He would have lost the life tap, though.
He
wouldn't have been able to life tap and Mountain Giant this turn. So he would still only have the one Ancient Watcher out, actually. Just tough position to be in. You know, maybe that would have influenced a Molten Giant instead.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing too, is if he plays Jiraxis, these Molten Giants are going to get stuck in his hand until he gets down to about 5 life then.
And I mean, Faramir does still have to be a little bit nervous because even if he hits with the True Silver Champion, he's putting himself down to 10 HP after the heal here. So it's, he is getting into the range where he's getting pretty nervous about his own health.
Yep.
I mean, how many more taunts is there even in Dart's deck? I think it's maybe 1 Defender of Argus, if that.
Yeah, I think there's about 1 left.
I think he used both Sunfear Protectors, he used 1 Argus, so I think he only has 1 more.
Oh, wow. I actually just forgot he could attack the Sylvanas and the Ancient Watcher. Oh my gosh, we both missed that, and Dart even missed that. Oh my gosh. What?
Oh my god, that is...
How did we miss that? That is actually like a blunder.
Dude, that is huge. None of us thought about that, including Dart. He literally just gave him a free 8/8 by playing that into that.
Casters are idiots!
Yeah.
Wow, I actually was not even thinking about something like that happening. And this is sort of like a bit of a panic mode here for Dart. He's having to Alex Strauss himself.
Causing the game.
Wow, like I don't know why you could just attack the Ancient Watcher. How did I miss that? This is just lethal.
Wow,
and just like that.
Oh my god, that is such a huge mistake. We all missed it.
I cannot believe that I had missed that mistake. Faramir going to just take this game 1. Sylvanas was literally the deciding factor in this game. The fact that Dart didn't have an efficient way to answer Sylvanas, that swung the whole game. I still cannot believe that was right in front of my eyes.
Yeah, I know. Now into the game there it goes, and we do have Dart versus Faramir here. And the players quickly blowing through that mulligan. And we can already see a very nice start there for Faramir. And it actually is the warrior coming out, not the mage. So
yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by this. But, you know, we saw yesterday, we thought Paladin was going to be like an absolute counter to mage.
Yep.
But the mage just fell apart under the pressure that was able to be applied by Paladin. And you know, maybe Dart's kind of thinking in that same line where it's difficult for him to find a true answer to Paladin what's going on, but he's not playing like a freeze mage or anything. Like he's not trying to kill him with Alex Strauss and Pyroblast in 1 turn. He's just trying to apply a lot of pressure and get to a point where he can really utilize the full effect of these minions. But
this start though from Faramir is just brutal. I mean,
this is the kind of pressure that Paladin applies.
This is such a tough board to deal with. And the thing is, there's a high chance of Fiery War Axe coming down here, and then it's just going to get Harrison next turn.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like. It's so tough. I mean, because there's like
which these minions you even attack. Like, look how much stuff you're leaving on the board too.
Yeah, I mean, he takes up the Knife Juggler because it's like you'd have to hit the Shield of Minibot twice. You basically, you kill the Paladin Shredder, you still have the Death Rattle to deal with. And I mean, very likely it's just going to be Harrison, and he's just going to continue applying the pressure.
That belongs in a museum. And this is such a huge swing in the amount of cards that are available for both of these players. He's got so much pressure on him already. This may force an early brawl here from Dart. If you take a look at his hand, he's got Sludge Belcher, he's got Shield Maiden, and he's got Brawl, but no other options available to him. None of these look appealing right now.
And it's kind of a rough brawl because the thing is, it's like, even say that Harrison wins or something, then you still have the death rattle from the Piloted Shredder. It's like,
any of these minions
other than it wins, there's going to be 2 minions on the board.
Yeah, I think all of these brawl outcomes, I think for him are really bad. But do you want to run Sludge Belcher?
Yeah, Belcher is just going to get killed by Harrison in the mini bot. Shield Maiden isn't great. I mean, none of these options are very nice. He's going to go with the Belcher, and I mean, I can't blame him here, but it's pretty rough. And it wouldn't actually surprise me to even see like Aldor Peacekeeper or something really aggressive coming down here, because that has really been how Faramir has been playing. He just fights so aggressively for the board, like you said.
The Sludge Belcher coming out here, I think, is probably his best play because it encourages Faramir to try to overextend to the board. Like, it actually would not surprise me to see him forego making a token in this spot to make sure that he can keep his board position fortified. And actually, pretty smart here from Faramir to make sure that his Harrison Jones or his Piloted Shredder is going to stay pretty healthy. He wants to keep the Harrison Jones alive. He knows that Dart's low on ways to actually kill this board. He goes with a token anyway. I can see why he makes a token, and this does kind of force your opponent to have a brawl in this position. I don't think it's getting a much better brawl turn here for Dart, and he's going to let it rip. Man, let me tell you what, if this Harrison Jones wins, he's going to be in trouble. He needs a good brawl right now to stay alive. Harrison gets kicked out, and the 1/1 token wins the brawl. A mech paladin! Wow, we finally see a mech deck.
Yeah, man, definitely the one he was not wanting to win there. Faramir definitely not going to be too happy about that.
But look how much pressure he has.
Position.
He just picks up a Quartermaster. He's able to make 2/3/3s, keep the pressure on. Dart's down to 15 life. I mean, what does he do to win this game from this spot?
It's going to be brutal, man. He needs to start drawing into some answers here. Things like Shield Slam. I mean, he has Shield Maiden coming out. It's going to be tough. He's got to live a couple more turns. He's holding on.
Baron Gedd's not enough to sweep out the board right now.
Yeah. He needs a Whirlwind or something to go with it, so it's not going to be the play. It's got to be the Shield Maiden.
He's down 14 points of damage right now. I think he's got a coin armor here just to make sure he stays out of range. So he stays just out of Consecrate range now, but he's got Defender of Argus. This looks like lethal to me.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it with the Defender of Argus and the Consecrate.
That's 18 points of damage. If he spots it, he's got this game.
Wow. I mean, that's just such a dominating performance here from Faramir. It's just, this Paladin is just absolutely crushing. It's ridiculous.
Oh, Faramir spots it right away, too. And this is going to be game 2 over to Faramir in a quick Paladin versus Warrior match.
With that start, what do you do? I mean, how do you fight that?
You got to have an early Fiery War Axe. You got to have the removal to follow it up. Shield Block, Shield Slam. So important to being able to win this matchup. And once again, just the amount of pressure that Faramir is applying to his opponents is absolutely crippling their game plans.
And I mean, once again, I think so much of it is going to come down to the mulligan. What kind of a start does Faramir get here? And I mean, not the hand he was really looking for off the bat.
So many early drops in here, though. I mean, this is I think you're pretty happy with this kind of mulligan. Anytime you're pitching away 4 cards that you don't necessarily want to redraw,
you're not going to get those high cards back.
Right. It's a much lower chance to get these sort of 4-cost hands that he has right here. So I imagine everything going to get pitched back here.
Yep. The only thing I could maybe see him keeping is a Piloted Shredder or something like that. But we'll
True Silver Champion, I think, prior to GVG was really good. Wow, he's actually going to keep Piloted Shredder.
It doesn't really surprise me too much especially because he's starting with the coin. Do you think he actually? I don't think. I mean, the thing is, this sets up a very nice kind of curve here. I don't actually think he's going to coin out one here. I think he's going to save the coin for the Piloted Shredder, but he is actually going to decide to go for it. Just really wants to. Once again, of course, I should have expected him to do this based on how he's playing. I mean, he just fights so aggressively for the board, and this is a rough start here to see. But there are some answers. Explosive Sheep is a really nice answer.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think you just play your Explosive Sheep. I mean, it could be Mad Scientist, but I actually like playing
Explosive Sheep. Yeah, if he plays Explosive Sheep right here, I imagine one of these Zombie Chows is going to run into this Explosive Sheep.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, you can still finish it off next turn with one thing. So, I mean, that's 2 basically answered with 1 card.
Yeah, that seems like
Explosive Sheep is really the perfect answer.
Yeah, I think so. You know,
I would be shocked to see him play Mad Scientist. I think that's a mistake.
I don't think I'm not shocked to see him play this. You know, he does want to thin secrets out of his deck. It is something you don't want to draw, and these zombie chows are going to heal him back up when they die too. So he's not necessarily in a hurry to make sure and kill these zombie chows. It wouldn't surprise me to see Sheep either. I think Sheep's really strong, but you know, the trade-off is that he gets to develop a secret a little bit earlier. So let's take a look at what he got from the secret. It looks like it's duplicate.
See, kind of the problem with that is though, he gets his duplicate, and now it's kind of awkward. You don't really want to duplicate your explosive Sheep, right?
Yeah,
that's my problem with this play order.
I mean, it's not always going to get duplicated, but yeah, I mean, that is something he wants to think about.
But I mean, half the secrets in his deck, I believe he has 2 duplicates and 2 ice blocks, right?
So it looks to me like he can still set this up. I mean, the zombie chows are going to heal him back up, so if he pings this down to 2, he can still kill his own sheep on his turn, sweep this board out, and make sure he's going to go back up to 30 from just these zombie chows. So, making pretty good use. And this is one of the reasons I felt like that Mage had a pretty good matchup against his Paladin deck is simply because, if this is the kind of open they have, you're in really good shape.
Yep, so very well played there by Dart, and he is going to be able to clear it back up, go right back to full HP. So, that great start, or what looked to be a great start from Faramir, kind of countered pretty well by the Explosive Sheep, and kind of one of the first times in this tournament we've actually seen really the true power of it.
Yep. Oh gosh, Twilight Drake, Sludge Belcher, or Flame Cannon available, and this has got to be the one you play. And next turn, I would not be at all surprised to see Flame Cannon, but when these 1/1 tokens are getting turned out, it's that's sometimes not a spot you want to be in.
He was hovering over the Argus there, just maybe trying to think about.
He's going to go for a 50-50 juggle, I think. I think this Aldor Peacekeeper's coming down.
Yeah. Yeah, and that really would not surprise me at all. I mean, it really has been his play style to go for things like that. Just really wants to keep his minions alive, but he's not going to go for it this time. He's actually gets
he
the
picks up
juggle off
Ancient
that.
Watcher,
and it's actually not bad with the Argus in his hand.
That's this is actually like. I really like this sequencing a lot better because now he gets to play Muster for battle. So he's got so many chances to make sure this slime gets picked off. It's going to get picked off right away too. 1 damage to face, and now he's got this 1/4 weapon up, and it's not a ton of damage, but that's 4 extra damage he's going to net from this. On the other side, Dart draws
3 Sludge Belchers.
3 Sludge Belchers, so this is going to be so much for him to have to fight through. Boy, I bet he wished he had the
What do you think about just?
Launcher.
I feel like I kind of just like Drake and then Frostbolting the Knife Juggler though, as opposed to a Sludge Belcher.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
You're not under a ton of pressure. You're at 28. This is about the highest value you're going to get out of a Drake in a position like this.
He's definitely praying that there's not a Quartermaster in hand right now, and there is not. He's not going to draw that. So
I imagine this is going to be something like this. Has got to be like an equality turn.
Well, I don't think it's going to be equality now.
It's not going to be equality now. Wow, he's just going to leave the Drake alone and continue to fight as he normally would. Yeah, I don't know how much weight you're actually pulling out of that Ancient. I actually wouldn't have minded to see him just taunt up only the Ancient Watcher in this spot.
Going to say. Yeah, just not taunt up the token. I mean, either way, I don't think it's...
He's going to favor the damage. I mean, this has, again, been Faramir's style. He wants to just favor every single point that he can get at every step of the way. But he's got to fight through 3 Sludge Belchers this game to pick off a win. And, gosh, that's a tall order.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, I mean, well, it's actually 4 Sludge Belchers when you think about it. This is the second one already played. He has 2 more in hand. He got the duplicate, and he got both of them drawn pretty early on here. It's going to be an equality turn, it looks like. And he will be able to clear up the Drake as well as the Sludge Belcher. I mean, yeah. I feel like he probably just drops Harrison.
Yeah, I think Harrison is probably...
Harrison isn't going to do anything for you, but more. It's not going to do anything more for you than it is on this turn. So I like the play of Harrison here.
Just get the damage out while you can, but 2 more Sludge Belchers. And now Archmage Antonidas in hand, and he's got 2 Flame Cannons as well. It feels to me like Dart has got all the answers this game.
Yeah, I mean, especially if he can clear up some of this other stuff off the board. Do you think he goes for the... No, he's not gonna risk it. I mean, it would be so nice to be able to get that Flame Cannon on the Harrison, but it's just too risky.
Yeah, I just don't think there's any reason to.
Yeah,
doesn't really need to right now. This Bolvar, not a great draw right now. If this had been his opening hand, it would be such a huge threat right now. But this Aldor Peacekeeper going to make sure that Harrison stays as healthy as he possibly can. No surprise there. Faramir knows this deck list as well, so we've seen him play so aggressively. Developing the big game hunter isn't something that's outside of his range of plays, but he's seen this deck. He knows what his opponent's playing. He knows there's Molten Giants in here. He's going to hang on to that until one of those gets dropped, unless he's just absolutely desperate for more presence.
Now going to go with the Flame Cannon. May actually just double Flame Cannon here, which I like that quite a lot. I mean, especially it's kind of a nod to the play style of Faramir. You know,
Yeah.
when your opponent is going to sacrifice so much to fight for the board that hard, you know, you have to be willing to do the same thing.
Picks up a Consecrate, really no action to move forward. This Bolvar, a 5/7, I imagine that's just going to be big enough for him. And I mean, a 5/7 is still a pretty good deal, I think. You know, it's a little bit worse than Boulder Fist Ogre at this point, but you know, ideally it's going to be a lot bigger than that most of the time you play
Poly, pretty nice draw there. I guess, you know, it's got to be the Poly. You know, the only hesitation here is, oh god, does he have Tyrion in hand? Do I Poly into a Tyrion? You know, that's something that you're scared of, but I just don't think there's a lot of other really great plays here, so I think it's going to be the Polymorph regardless, and he's probably going to take his chances. If he goes with the Archmage,
wow, I'm really surprised by that.
So am I. I thought it was going to be the Polymorph for sure. To be willing to trade that in, huh? How do you feel about that?
I mean, this is going to force Faramir to have some action in his hand.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess he's just saying he doesn't need to have fireballs to finish off this game.
He gets Lay on Hands right off the top. He's going to pick up a bunch of cards here. But, you know, he's got to be worried about that Archmage. He's got to be thinking that Equality might be the card he needs to play here. Instead, he's just going to apply pressure. And he says, you can have your fireballs. It doesn't matter to me. And, gosh, this is such a scary position to be in.
Oh, wow. Especially Arcane In comes up. He can poly Arcane In. He can get so much going on in his hand.
Well, he can start chaining the fireballs at this point, too.
Exactly.
Arcane Int plus Fireball plus Hero Power is going to take out Bolvar.
Yeah.
Going to give him another Fireball off of that.
Very
and he's
true.
still going to have an Archmage Antonidas on the board.
So will be the Polymorph. I think he wants to get the double Fireball with the Polymorph and that Arcane In. We'll see. And he's just going to be... Okay, so it's going to be Fireball, just a Fireball to the face, I guess. Yeah,
he's trying to prevent Equality from... Wow, he's actually just going straight for the dome with a Fireball. And so that's going to be 5 more points of damage. He just wants to apply maximum pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's already seen Lay on Hands get used in a position where it was mainly for card draw instead of the heal. So
how do you feel about you know, going face with the Antonidas as opposed to taking out that token?
I think
try to just keep it alive against something like an Equality.
Well, when you Fireball your opponent's face, it makes a ton of sense to me. But when your opponent's just drawn 3 cards, if they have Equality, I think there's a really good chance they have something like Muster for Battle, True Silver Champion, maybe a Cog Hammer, or even a Consecrate afterwards to deal with it. But that's just sort of the sacrifice that you're willing to make at this point. And then again, maybe a nod to the way that Faramir's playing. He feels like he's pressured to end the game sooner than he normally would be.
Yep. I think it's just going to be Belcher taking out the token. I mean, he definitely wants that massive turn with the free Molten Giants. I think he's going to hold on to his Sunfury Protector.
He's seen both Equalities at this point, too, so he's not worried about those getting swept out. But Big Game Hunter and Aldor Peacekeeper and Sylvanas in hand.
You saw how important Sylvanas was in that earlier game, you know?
Would not be surprised to see Sylvanas at all this turn.
I mean, I felt like this was looking pretty bad for a bit for Faramir, but it really has kind of swung right back around.
Yep,
I'm starting to like his position more and more, although there is the potential for a massive turn here for a Dart. It just feels like the answers are all there. I mean, Big Game Hunter, Peacekeeper, even if he gets a double Molten Giant turn, that answers both of them so well.
Yep.
And he has a Sylvanas to threaten anything else.
If he chooses to not go with Sylvanas here, I'm certain in fear of Flame Strike. Flame Strike would have swept this entire board out. That was his reason for not overcommitting to this board, is he just wants to get the pressure on Dart. He doesn't want too much damage going to face to activate these Molten Giants. He wants it sort of to be on his timeline instead of Dart's.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Explosive Sheep this
turn.
time.
I mean, this seems like a great Explosive Sheep turn to me, but he's got a second Ice Block now, 2 Molten Giants, and Alex Straza in his hand.
Yeah, I mean, you can just Explosive Sheep, ping it, and pop up an Ice Block, and it seems like a pretty solid turn. I don't think you really want to leave that body down on the board, but perhaps he is waiting to try to get some more value from it. My guess, though, is it is going to be Explosive Sheep and then the Ice Block.
I mean, it seems like the best play to me.
Yeah. We will see, though, having 2 Ice Blocks in hand as well as the Alex Straza definitely does give you, some more potential to be able to kind of survive any kind of crazy onslaught here from Paladin. Certainly thinking it through, and it is looking like, yep, it's going to be the Explosive Sheep.
Just exploring his other options, like maybe there's some merit to taunting it up instead. And,
I think though, with
just thinking through every
Giant there, it's just, this is the best play.
Yeah, he might have been just thinking about taking damage here too.
Yep.
He does have 2 Molten Giants, so maybe just taking extra damage wasn't that big a deal from him.
Wow, so it's just going to be the Quartermaster coming down here. on the 1 token, just really wants to continue
This
getting
is
a presence out on the
This
board.
is the turn I think he wants to encourage his opponent to play a single Molten Giant and hope that he can use Big Game Hunter to really put the pressure on. Another tough turn.
How would you feel about the Alex Straza here?
It's
trying
tough.
to fade out some sort of an answer.
I think he's looking for a turn where he can Alex Straza himself back up after an Ice Block. Picks up Ragnaros and a Twilight Drake. Part of the thing you're worried about, I think, in positions like this is you have singular removal spells, but all of these threats are so spread out. I mean, they're pretty much all equal threats. In this regard, you have 2/5. It's a lot of health. You have the Knife Juggler, the Activation Instrument, and then a 3/3. I don't want to fireball any of these guys.
And I think this is actually a pretty smart play. He's going to kind of feign that he has that Flame Strike, or at least perhaps setting up for a potential one. I mean, with that many cards in hand, you have to be scared of a Flame Strike.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, but he can't kill him this turn either, because he's got the Ice Block down. So even despite the fact that he's got 8, 10, 14, he's got potentially 15 damage available to him, that Ice Block's not going anywhere.
We'll see if he decides to just pop it. Wouldn't actually surprise me too much.
If you pop the Ice Block this turn, you do apply a lot of pressure to your opponent. They'll have to either heal up or play a second Ice Block after that.
And I think that just speaks a lot to how Faramir has been playing this game and this tournament in general. So I'm kind of guessing he will just go for that.
He's got to get a juggle first, though.
It's true.
It's not a guarantee.
Nope.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him summon
even
minions
putting
first.
to 1 HP.
Yeah, but 1 HP, when they have an Ice Block up, is one of the most dangerous spots you could possibly be in against a deck like this. So I suspect that if he's going to try to go for lethal, he's going to see where these juggles land first and then evaluate his board position. But he's got to make a decision. He's only got 15 seconds left. So
and I mean, animations do take some time. All right, so it's going to be the Shredder. Let's see where the juggle does land. It's not going to go face.
This juggle is going to determine how he attacks his turn. Both of them hit this Twilight Drake. He's going to go face anyway, but he's only able to put his opponent down to potentially 2 life, so he's going to hang on to his True Silver Champion charge. And look at this turn from Dart. He's got double Molten Giant. He's got Alex Straza available to him afterwards. He's got an Ice Black up. He's got Ragnaros. He's got all of the options available to him.
And with both qualities already having been played, I actually like playing Ragnaros. I mean, you could double Molten Giant, Ragnaros, taunt up. I mean, that just puts such a ridiculous amount of threat down on the board with another Ice Block coming next turn. I mean, then you could even Alex Straza yourself back up next turn.
And he knows that both the equalities are gone. He's free to extend into the board as much as he wants at this point.
I think he should play the Ragnaros. I think he should drop the Ragnaros, taunt up, and
he can Alex his opponent's face too. That's 5 extra damage. And this Ragnaros, I mean, there's a bunch of targets to hit, but I got to agree with you. This seems like fine. This seems fine also.
I think this is a great play.
Do you taunt up your Ragnaros?
Oh wow. I think taunting up the Ragnaros is fine. I think you should taunt up, though.
Look at how much power has been added to the board for Dart, and this is the kind of swing turns you're looking for. And he's just going to continue to pick this board apart. He wants to choke away all of Faramir's options this game.
Not a great Ragnaros shot there. Takes out the 1/1 token, but still. I mean, he has BGH, he has a Peacekeeper, he has answers here. I think
this Ice Block is certainly looking to get popped this turn, but when he big game hunters, he no longer has access to 2 Consecrates, so...
do you think he drops the Sylvanas, or do you think he's too scared?
I think he's got to do something to this Ice Block this turn.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. He's going to need to Consecrate if he actually wants to get through that.
I think it's going to be Aldor and Consecrate to keep his board healthy, make sure he's not taking too much damage in the meantime, and that's going to put the pressure right back onto Dart. He's going to have to Ice Block again, and when you have an Ice Block on board and it's gotten popped and you have to develop another one, that means you can't Alex Straza. That's exactly what Faramir is looking to do.
Yeah, so a pretty strong play here. Definitely going to be a little bit frustrated about that Ragnaros shot, I'm sure, hitting the 1/1 token.
And he's down to 1 with an Ice Block popped. He doesn't have lethal this turn. He's got to get another Ice Block down. This is dire straits. He needs something like a Flame Strike, I think. But I don't even know how you get out of this. I think Flame Strike was his one hope to really secure this game. He could Flame Strike an Ice Block afterwards with a Ragnaros active.
Yeah. Well, he's not out of it just yet, but we'll have to see what he's going to be able to get done here. I mean, he has a Fireball, he has a Frostbolt. You know, you can Fireball, Frostbolt, as well as dropping that Ice Block. And and really clear out a lot of this board with your 2 minions as well. Do you think he'll have to use that fireball here? I'm kind of guessing he will. I mean, he knows it has to be an ice block, so I mean, okay, you can trade the 2-1 into the 4-2, so that's gone. You can frostbolt onto the 3-3, so that's gone. Then you have the 3-3 to deal with. I mean, you can fireball 3-3.
Do you want to take out the pilot shredder and hope to give Ragnaros a better chance to hit a minion?
Yeah, definitely possible. I mean, you could deal with the four minions, leave up the piloted shredder. 50-50 for your Ragnaros to hit that.
Maybe he just has to go for face and hope that Ragnaros hits the face, that ice block is enough to keep him alive, and he can burn him out afterwards. Maybe even that's the play he has to make. Maybe he has to Alex back up to 15 and hope that his opponent can't put together enough cards from his hand to get lethal. That's what he's going to do. So let's see how he ends up attacking here. This board position is so important and so particular. Faramir's only got access to now 9 damage, so Dart is safe this turn. Shielded Minibot comes to hand. He's got another strong reload, and pressure's going to be applied, but now Dart can safely sit behind an ice block for a turn. This may have been the swing he needed.
Yeah, very smart play there. Unfortunately, Ragnar's shot not going his way again, and it's going to be dangerous now with Sylvanas sitting on the board. Flame Strike comes down.
I think he's got this game wrapped up, actually. He's got 8 points of damage to face.
Yeah, you're right. With 8, possible fireball, and ice block.
Gosh, it's just so scary with the Sylvanas sitting there. What if he steals the Ragnaros?
Well, Frostbolt Fire. If you Frostbolt Fireball, go face as well. Put the ice block down. I mean, that's 6. That's 9. That's 8. So, I mean, he has a lot of damage here.
He's got to get ice block down.
Yeah.
He's got 7 mana left to work with afterwards.
So he can deal 17 damage if he decides to go all face. It's kind of scary proposition.
This Ragnaros shot just goes straight for face. This is a 1-6.
Yeah.
He's got to find a way to end this game because he's running out of defensive tools.
It's true. Do you think there's any merit to just flame striking here?
It's tough.
I mean, if you flame strike the board, your opponent has 1 card in hand.
What if your opponent gets Doomsayer off the pilot shredder? I mean, these are all things you have to think about.
He's going to go with the Flame Strike, I think. I think this is maybe the highest percentage play. We'll have to see. So we'll see where everything does lie.
It's a 2-2. But still Sylvanas? I mean, Sylvanas is still a big threat. How does he choose to attack? Goes 8 straight to the dome. And where this Ragnaros lands.
Ooh. Okay.
I think he's happy to see it not hit the Sylvanas.
Yeah, no kidding. You're very happy with that.
And now Faramir can pop this ice block again, but he's facing down lethal afterwards. So he's going to steal this Alex Straza.
Yeah, he can.
Wait, can he pop the block afterwards of that too?
No, you have to go face. You have to go.
No, he can still pop the block after this because he drew the True Silver Champion.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Not if he attacks in this order. He actually wants to get rid of everything, I think. Just take the Ragnaros. He's going to take the Ragnaros, and then the shot will actually pop the block this turn. So that's a really nice play.
This True Silver's got to come down. He's got to heal himself for 2 just to make sure he's out of range of everything. Wow, what a big swing turn for Faramir. What looked like it was certainly a good board position for Dart has been turned back around on him. How on earth
has just been incredible for Faramir.
Unbelievable the amount of pressure when you couple it with a card like Sylvanas. How much it messes with your opponent's ability to develop the board. Dart's going to need a draw right now. He can fireball his own Sylvanas to take Ragnaros, but that still leaves him with lethal on the board, so he can frostbolt his opponent to prevent him from attacking with True Silver Champion. He can fireball the Ragnaros and then develop the Mad Scientist. But gosh, at 2 life, you cannot feel comfortable with this board position.
No kidding. Definitely has some options here, but I think Frostbolt pretty much has to go face.
That's the only way he can stop the True Silver Champion attack.
Yeah. So that's 2 mana already allocated. You have 8 mana remaining.
He's got a Fireball.
Got a Fireball.
Ragnaros afterwards, too.
You can ping. So, I mean, you can just drop the Mad Scientist, Frostbolt the face, Fireball the Rag, ping out the 1/1. But how do you win after that?
Gotta win
if you go with Sylvanas, then he's going to go with the,
Wow, so he's going to take an even bigger
roll
risk.
The dice.
He's going to hope that this Ragnaros will hit Sylvanas, And frankly, I think that's a better way to do it because he's got to find a way to actually
win,
end the game.
I think this is smarter. Even if Fireball, there's no way he's actually going to be able
Muster
to
for battle picks up.
Oh, and that is going to be it because he didn't kill the token.
It's not enough for lethal because he can't attack this turn.
Oh, you're right. Of course, he can't even lose. Yeah.
But are the tokens going to be enough? Is he willing to just replace his True Silver champion? He's still got to be concerned with Fireball from his opponent in this position.
Yeah. I think the tokens...
I think you got to go for the tokens here.
If you hit the Sylvanas, you don't want him stealing your Ragnarok.
The other thing, too, though, is if you use this, your opponent's got such a thin deck, he's got to be worried about something like maybe a second Flame Strike.
There's a lot to think about, but I think this could be the right choice. We'll see how it's going to work out for him. A lot is going to come down to this. Will he go face with the Ragnarok? It's a 1 in 3 chance to end the game.
Oh my gosh.
Here, right now.
I cannot believe it. This Ragnaros is so important right now.
Dart is now praying that he hits the
gosh!
Let's see.
Go straight to face! That's going to end it. Faramir is going to sweep Dart 3-0 with sheer aggression from this Paladin deck. Wow, is this deck looking strong.